Hey, my name is Carlye Williams. I'm an 8th grade English teacher at West Feliciana Middle School. I'm most passionate about creating a welcoming and non-judgmental classroom for my kids to come in and just talk about books that they love. My class consists of all 8th grade students. We're studying how literature and art illuminates the effects of World War I through the Wit and Wisdom curriculum. So we're currently reading All Quiet on the Western Front. It's an old novel about a little German soldier and what he experiences in World War I. Our objective today is to analyze how key sentences and phrases reveal the war's effect on the men in the novel. So in previous lessons, we've gone through what are the central ideas of the novel, and they're going to use those central ideas today to meet their lesson objective and figure out what the effects were that we read in the book. I support all students in my class by giving them a variety of ways to express their thinking. So sometimes we write, sometimes we draw, sometimes we discuss. The class in the video you're about to see is a very intelligent and very well-behaved class, but they are very quiet. They do not like to talk to me, and so I adapt their instruction to include more partner work and group work. I hope you enjoy my lesson. Take out your annotation chart, your pencil, and answer the question in the Nearpod. So you're looking at the picture. We looked at this picture way at the beginning of this module, and now that you've read a little bit about the war, which central idea do you see in that picture? Peyton.
Comradeship, because they're helping each other.
Okay, comradeship, because they're helping each other. I agree. Anyone pick something other than comradeship?
Our child's loss of innocence because they wore blindfolds because they couldn't unsee the things that the war is showing them.
I love this. So Carissa took it in a non-literal way. So literally, they probably have blindfolds on because they're injured, right? Because of the gas. But she took it as they had to wear the blindfolds because they couldn't unsee the things that the war did to them. I love that answer. All right, the word of the day is distribute. If you distribute things, you hand them or deliver them to a number of people. So when Gabby passes out papers, she is distributing them. Any questions about that one? Can anyone use distribute in a sentence?
You're distributing the knowledge that you learn to teach
I love that. I'm distributing knowledge. Very nice. All right, we have the same objective as yesterday. I can analyze how a key sentence or phrase reveals the war's effect on the men. Now, yesterday we realized that when I asked about the war's effect, I was really just asking for what? A central idea, because all of our central ideas are what? Effects of the war, okay? So by the end of class, you'll have to pick one quote that really shows one of those central ideas. So close your Chromebooks halfway. We're going to start on 88. Who can remind me, what are some of the things we read yesterday? Himmelstas went back to the front, and how did the men respond to it? Disrespectfully.
Some of them, whenever they went home, they wouldn't have any jobs or anything to go home to.
Okay, so that wasn't about Himmelstas, but at some point they did also talk about what they would do if they made it through the war, and did they think they would have anything to do? They were feeling very what? Hopeless. All right, 88, we're starting at the top where it says the orderly room. The orderly room shows signs of life. Himmelstas seems to have stirred them up again. At the head of the column trots the fat sergeant major. That is our sole ambition, to knock the conceit out of a postman. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read the word conceit, I did not know what it meant. What do you think it means? It's pride. Yeah. They want to knock the confidence out of him. They want to knock the pride out of him. That's exactly what it means. I go into the hut and put Jaden wise. He disappears. Please may I go? Please may I hop it? We've been waiting a long time for someone like you. What's he doing to Himmelstas? Mocking him. Do you think he's going to get in trouble?
Yes.
I mean, if Himmelstas is going to tattle on Jaden, he'll probably tattle on Albert Kropp. 90. He sits down again and Himmelstas disappears like a comet. Jaden greets us crowing. Then we play scat far into the night. Jaden wins, of course, the lucky wretch. All right, take a second to write down a word you didn't know, something you notice, and then if you have something you wonder. All right, did anyone have a word they didn't know? We talked about conceit. We talked about a couple other ones. Peyton? What? Sermon? It said that on 90. Then comes Jaden's turn. He gets a long sermon in 3 days open arrest. When do you hear the word sermon?
Like a judge.
Like in
Or
church. You know, when you go to church, the preacher gives a sermon. So it's like a lecture. He gave him a lecture.
Insubordination.
We're going to talk about that one in a second. All right, what do you notice in that section? Grady?
Crop was mocking.
Krupp was mocking Himmelstas, and what was his punishment for that?
1 day.
1 day open arrest. What do you think open arrest is? Based on what he talked about, what is open arrest? What do you think, Carlye?
They get like put like this like old chicken coop or whatever, and they have to stay in there like for however long.
Yeah, they just get put in a chicken coop. So can his friends still go and talk to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they said closed arrest was like in a cellar. Any wonders before we move on? Any questions we had? All right, then we're gonna move on. So Kashaylin asked what insubordination meant, and I actually had that as a slide to talk about. So the sentence says, I have to appear as a witness and explain the reasons for Jaden's insubordination. Now, based off of what's happening at this point in the book and the sentence, what do you think insubordination means?
It's like foolishness.
Okay, foolishness. What kind of actions? But like good actions, bad actions? Bad actions, foolishness. So insubordination is just simply breaking a rule, doing something bad. Good. So how does Jaden's insubordination reveal comradeship in this section? Turn to somebody near you and talk to them about what you think. What do we think? How does Jaden's insubordination reveal comradeship?
Oh yeah, I was talking to Alyssa, and I had said that his insubordination showed comradeship because while he was in trial, his friends came and helped him, which like shows and demonstrates comradeship in the book.
Did his friends stick up for him?
Yes.
Absolutely. We're going to pick up on page 91, and we're going to read all the way to 97. When we break it up, Kat says to me, what do you say to some roast goose? Once we hear a stifled cry, a hut must have been hit. I'm going to read part of that paragraph one more time and tell me what kind of language you hear. The sound of the gunfire from the front penetrates into our refuge. The glow of the fire lights our faces. Shadows dance on the wall. Mercuria? Sensory. What senses did you hear? Just say it. Sight?
Hearing.
Sound?
Wouldn't there be something else?
There's one more.
It talks about the shadows dancing.
What is that when shadows are dancing on the wall? Personification, because can shadows dance? No. What about sometimes a heavy crash and the lean-to shivers?
Oh, touch.
Touch, if you can feel it shivering. All right, good. Next paragraph. Aeroplanes drone and the tack-tack of machine guns break out. The outlines of the hut are upon us in the dawn like a dark, deep sleep. And that is where we're going to stop. So if you had a word you didn't know, go ahead and jot it down. Write down what you noticed in that section. I would definitely try to take note of what central idea I saw. And then write down something that you wonder. All right, were there any words in that section you didn't know? Oh, bastes. I think that's just the way they were cooking the goose. All right, what do you notice in that section? Yeah.
I'd say a lot of comradeship.
Yeah. She said her central idea was comradeship. Do y'all agree?
Yeah.
Good. Any wonders from that section?
Did you shoot the dog?
I don't know if he shot the dog. What do y'all think?
Well, saying I was alive, I don't think.
But he also says it limped and then like fell over.
Yeah, it says like he shot and then it like fell over and whimpered, but then like 5 seconds later, what was the dog doing? Jumping at him. So I have no idea. I have no idea. So the sections that we read today had a ton of descriptive language. We even pointed some of it out. So I want you to use details from the novel to draw a picture, illustrating a scene. I put from 91 to 97 to the whole cat thing, but you can do it from the first half if you would rather. Try to do some of the details you saw when you read. All right, time's up. We're going to go through them all. That's a cute goose. It says, I just need to help my friends so we can all eat. Ah, I like this. We've got chicken coop. We've got a dog. We've got a goose. We got a person. Ah, nice. She drew specific sensory language that she saw. Best friends forever. All right, beautiful. So here's what we're going to do next. We did a chart that looks just like this yesterday. Remember, we looked at the pages that we read. We gave it a central idea, described it in our own words, and gave a quote. Today, you're going to get in groups, and half of the class is going to get the first set of page numbers that we read, and then half of y'all are going to get the second set of page numbers. So the first half would be the whole like Jaden jail thing. The second half would be the cat goose thing. Okay, so go ahead and pick your group, and I'll come around and I'll tell you what pages you're doing, and you'll work together.
Is this supporting evidence, this part?
What?
Is this supporting evidence, this part?
Yeah.
So why don't you add a second quote about how they valued the friendship? So you have the quote about them sharing it. Add a quote about the lover, friend, brother thing. All right, start heading back to your seat. All right, raise your hand if your group had the first part with Jaden in jail. All right, so Gabby and Gabby's group. For the first section with the whole Jaden jail thing, what central idea did you pick?
We said the loss of innocence.
Why?
Because we showed that they lost the innocence of cop and getting been suspended because of mocking stuff.
Okay, and her quote was, "Crop, that's none of your business." That shows Himmelstas being back to him. Good. All right, now I have a feeling somebody else had this section and did a different central idea. Because remember, it's okay to have different ones. Sometimes they all apply. So who else had the first half and picked a different central idea?
So the quote that we used that she actually found on page 90 was, quote, "I have to appear as a witness and explain to Jaden's insubordination."
Why'd you pick that quote?
Because it shows them coming to trial to help and that shows comradeship because their comrades came to help him in the trial and get Himmelstas in trouble.
Beautiful. Now, even though they did different central ideas, loss of innocence versus comradeship, are they both correct? Because did they both have good reasoning? Yep. All right, now who had the second half? Brayden.
Our central idea was comradeship.
Okay.
And we said, the situation, Paul and Kat work together. Kat cooked the goose and later shared with Jake and Crop and seaweed. And our quote was, "How would it be, Kat, if we took a bit to Crop and Jake shared themselves?"
Absolutely. If they're sharing it with their friends, does that show comradeship? Yes. Now, Carissa's group added a second quote that shows comradeship in a different way. All right, Carissa, so not only did y'all talk about sharing, but what else did y'all talk about?
How things of cat and brother.
Okay, and what quote did you pick?
I believe we have more complete communication with one another than even lovers.
Yeah, and I know it sounds weird. We've acknowledged that. But does it show how close they are as friends? Yes. So again, they both have the same central idea, but they thought about it in different ways. And are they both right? Yes. So overall, in today's pages, what was the effect of the war that you read about? Comradeship, which leads to our exit ticket. What key sentence or phrase from chapter 5 most effectively reveals the war's effect on the men? And what is your effect today? Comradeship, or loss of innocence. Comradeship. So your topic sentence needs to restate the question and give me your quote. So your quote's going to be in your first sentence. Then after that, what do you need to do? Just explain it. Explain kind of what was happening, how it connected to how it shows that effect. All right? It is in teams. You've got about 6 minutes. I do feel that my students met the lesson objective today just based on a lot of the conversations I heard, a lot of the questions that they answered, and really off of their exit tickets. All of the students did a very good job of really identifying the key phrase that they felt showed the war's effect. If I was to change anything in this lesson, I think I would have given my students more of an opportunity to read and discuss it on their own. Since my class does so well with group work, I feel like they really would have enjoyed that time to read that section together and talk about it with their groups. Throughout the rest of the module, students are going to continue interacting and reading with All Quiet on the Western Front. They're going to write essays, they're going to write poems, they're even going to make videos at some point. And their end goal is to really see how the literature shows the effects of World War I. Thanks for watching my video. I hope through watching my lesson you were able to see a little bit of my personality, a little bit of my teaching style, but I hope you were really able to see how I help my students just foster their love of reading.